Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk Title with Emerald Coast Title Services. I'm President Dion Moniz.
I'm Ashley Bowen, Director of Operations and a licensed title agent, and today we have with us
Kyle Hock with RealJoy Realty.
Yeah, so Kyle is quite the little social media player himself, so tell us a little bit about Cool Guy Attack.
So Cool Guy Attack, the name comes from something a long time ago I won't get into. But my social media, I pretty much just make fun of real estate agents and how we think we're the coolest people in the world, and we're really not. And then just about the stupid stuff that goes along with real estate day in and day out.
And Kyle sees a lot of real estate day in and day out because you are consistently up at the top of the top real estate agents in the area. You do probably on average $7 million a month in sales, would you say?
Yeah, 5 to 7, yeah.
5 to 7 a month, so he's a pretty busy guy. Sees
Sees
a lot of
Y'all get half my
weird
closings,
things.
so if not more.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So Kyle had an idea for this episode where we're going to give him some scenarios and see how well he answers on how to handle those scenarios, and then we're going to step in and tell him whether he's right or wrong. We need like a buzzer.
Ooh, a no buzzer. No.
Yeah.
So hopefully our listeners and our watchers will learn from the scenarios that we're going to go through with Kyle. So
Scenario number 1.
Okay.
You are a listing agent. You have an as-is contract. The AC starts to leak 5 days before closing. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
What do I do? Well, is the seller in a pinch to sell?
We're under contract.
Okay, we're on contract. So legally, I have to make sure that the AC is in same working condition as it was during the inspection.
even for an as-is? I thought they were buying it as-is at closing.
Correct, but it's in the same manner as it was during the inspection.
As of the effective date.
Oh, as the effective date.
Yeah.
Really?
But
Yes.
I still am going to give you a B+ for that answer.
Yes, that was a B+.
That was
for
a good
sure.
answer.
Yes.
So
Bees get degrees.
yes. And you do have to get the property into the same condition as it was on the effective date. You cannot sell it with a leaky air conditioner if there was not a leaky air conditioner on the effective date.
What if it's day of closing? Because day of closing belongs to the buyer, and it's a mail away.
Wow. Okay, you stumped me on that one.
And the closing's on a Friday.
Of course, the closing's on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the language says between the effective date and closing date. So, I mean, I guess it depends on what time the closing happens versus when the leak appears.
So if we have
I would
not
have to-
closed yet, who do you say has to fix the leak?
The language says from the effective date to the closing date. So technically, if it hasn't closed, and this is my opinion, I'd have to go see if there's any cases on this, but if it hasn't closed, then it's still on the seller. But if you've got documents and money and a leak springs, then you've already closed. Too late.
So it depends on when the leak springs on closing day.
Yep. Good luck proving that.
Yeah.
So I've actually had a scenario where the house closed the day of closing. The sellers didn't have the water turned on at this point. They'd already turned the water off. So after closing, the buyer goes to Dust and Water Users, turns the water on, and
Oh, yes. I heard about this one. Yes.
somebody, the roofer, when they replaced the roof, had cut the water lines on accident, and they turned the water on, and the water started pouring immediately through the house, and it was already like filled up by the time the buyer got there.
Was this in Shalimar?
No, it was in Destin.
Oh.
And it was on the buyer. Buyer had to deal with it.
Well, do you remember that house that we closed in Shalimar on Country Club that Jason Yates bought the day that giant storm came through? Something happened to him there. He closed. He went back. The giant storm came through. The sellers had already signed. Jason signed, but by the time he got back to the house, there was leaks coming through.
What happened? I did that closing.
I know. You literally were physically inside the house.
Yeah, I don't remember you telling me that it leaked afterwards.
I probably called you at 10 o'clock at night. What do I do?
Yeah,
So
that's...
he fixed it, huh?
He fixed it, but it was like $15,000.
Wow.
Man. So did it leak before closing?
Nope.
Did we know? Never leaked before. It was
No.
the day of. So these things
Literally.
happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So close early, I think, is the bottom line. Close as early as you can.
All right, Kyle. We've got just a regular residential contract for sale and purchase, and the seller, whenever they're moving all their stuff out, they take the chandelier from the foyer.
Foyer.
Foyer, yes.
Foyer.
Sellers remove the chandelier. What do you do?
You said it's being sold furnished?
Nope, it is just a
Standard
residential
far bar.
Okay, all right.
standard
Or
far
crisp.
bar. You're the listing agent. Seller takes the chandelier.
Okay. Is this a short-term rental?
No,
It's not a short-term rental.
primary residence.
Are the buyers in town? And I'm listing agent or I'm a buyer's agent?
Listing agent.
Why-
Yes, buyers are in town.
Okay, how do I know they took it?
How do you know the seller took it?
Yeah.
Because now there's a cheap Walmart fixture on the ceiling versus
No.
the chandelier that I
Okay.
saw. when
We'll
I
still say
viewed
the
it.
buyer's agent at the walkthrough said, "Hey, this is not the right chandelier."
Okay, well, I tell them, all right, man, we'll toss you a credit, after closing. And then I go on vacation and I forget about it. Then it's over. It's not written down, so who cares? Move on. So if
Wrong answer.
if it's attached, it has to stay, obviously. But yeah, I mean, if they have changed something, then they have to go put it back.
Put it back or a credit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It needs to be the same like fixture as was there on the effective date.
Because if it's a
Yeah.
short-term rental, oh God, do I say this?
You go ahead.
If it's a short-term rental, and let's say closing's on Tuesday, everything's done on Tuesday. There's guests inside of there, and the owner goes in, has taken something out before those guests checks in, replaced with something else, and then so we close. There's really no way of knowing till after the fact, after it's done. So then what do you do there? Say sorry? I mean, is there a failure to disclose?
Well, I think you could look back, and I think it ties into, well, A, fixture, like you said. You can't remove fixtures. But B, I think that still goes back to the condition of the property as of the effective date. So if it had a certain fancy chandelier on the effective date, and now it's not there post-closing, then I think you've got a retroactive remedy against the seller.
So it would have to be fixed by way of litigation.
Yeah, but no one's
I mean-
going to pay litigation fees to replace a $300.
Well,
They
might be
shouldn't. Yeah, the seller at that point should just make it right. Either refunds, write a check, or go put it back.
Put it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. You're a buyer's agent, and you have a buyer looking to purchase a condo or a townhouse, and the listing says that there's boat slips included. What do you do?
Good one.
Need some Jeopardy music to
Yeah.
play.
I'm buyer's agent.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the listing has
Talks about the two slips.
that there's boat slips.
I put on the contract, I verify through whatever routes I can get, and I verify and put those boat slips on the contract to convey at time of sale.
Yes, 100%. Just because something
plus.
is
Yeah.
being offered in a listing does not mean that it is going to automatically be included in the sale.
Right.
The buyer's agent needs to include whatever they want in the offer. Even if it's in the listing, it needs to be included in the offer.
Correct.
Has to be in the contract.
And now for boat slips, though, I would say your way of verifying the boat slips should probably be call your title company, and they'll help you find which boat slips they are and if they really are going to attach. And then it might be a good idea to call the marina, if there is a marina that handles the boat slips, and find out if they're going to charge that 6% sales tax. It's not a sales tax, it's a submerged land lease fee. But 6% of the purchase price of the slips, not 0.6%, but it's a very hefty.
Is that what's happening right now?
No, not in this situation because there's not a marina.
Yeah.
But most of the boat slips in our area do have the marina and that submerged land lease with the state of Florida, and it's a 6% DEP tax. And in the contract, we need to know who's going to pay that.
Yep.
And or once I find out and I get the estoppel, I'm like, okay, well, there's $15,000. Who's going to pay it? So it's best to go ahead and negotiate that on your contract.
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't know anything like that. Honestly.
So you have to call your title company.
Yeah, but I've sold 15 condos that have, not counting the one now, that has boat slips. I never did that.
Well,
so
even
now you
as
do.
far as collecting the
6%?
Yeah.
That's on the title company to do.
Okay, then the title company has to go through and negotiate between buyer and seller. Who's
Well, I don't
paying
want
it.
to. So I would rather it happen at closing.
Yeah, it should be
at
specified in the
contract.
contract, right?
And so if I get that, if I see there's a 6% and it's not been mentioned in the contract, then I call the agents and I say, hey guys, there's the 6% fee. Who's going to pay it? Yeah. So it's best to know about it up front, or to even put in your offer, maybe if there is the 6% fee, seller will pay.
Or seller to pay all
Fees
closing-
associated with
yeah.
the transfer of the boat slip,
That
something
makes
like that.
sense, yeah.
And so, just to clarify for our audience, the 6% is only if it's a marina versus just a
HOA.
No, each-
HOA, right? Thank you.
So, the nice lady from Florida DOR told me once that it depends. She said you should have a big box that depends on your desk, and you can point to it every time. Say it depends. So it depends
That's
on
a
how
lawyer's
the
favorite
condo.
answer.
It depends on how the condo docs are written, how the
Okay.
marina docs are written, and if they have that 6% transfer, the DEP submerged land lease with the state.
So ultimately, it's whether there's a submerged land lease in place where the slips are located.
Yes, and if the slip is attached to a primary residence, so if it's like the seller's primary residence is that condo, then that fee doesn't apply. So it depends.
Then you just pay regular dock stamps on the purchase price. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's annoying.
So how do you apportion it then? If you're paying 6% on the boat slip, are you still paying dock stamps on
So
the
you
full
have to
full
give
purchase?
the boat slip a value.
Okay.
And the state has pushed back when marinas have been like $10. They don't like that. They want it to be like an appraised, something that is real, like a real value. And so a lot of times if I don't have a value, I'll ask the marina, what's the value that I need to put? And they'll say like 24,000 or something.
So, lesson then is if you're selling property that has a boat slip, you need to just put some generic language. All costs associated with transferring ownership of the boat slip will be paid by buyer or seller.
One or the other.
And then you need to get with your title company to help figure out whether that 6% is going to be owed versus just dock
And make
stamps.
sure that you include the slips in your contract. And
Yes.
just because they're in the listing doesn't mean that they're going to automatically convey.
Exactly. All right, that was a good one.
That
Next
was
scenario.
That
Okay.
was a good one.
All right. You're the buyer's agent. And
Have they signed a buyer's agent agreement with me?
Of course,
Or am I
'cause you-
showing the property illegally?
You've already shown. No,
You better have a BBA.
you definitely have the BBA on all of these.
Perfect.
Okay, so
You're in compliance, so you're good.
and
There we
you've
go.
drafted a residential contract for sale and purchase, a standard FAR bar. You have an inspection period, all that. You get the inspection done, and the report comes back, and it's 42 pages long, and the buyer says, "Oh my God, I don't want this house." What do you do?
Or look at them and say, listen, in today's real estate market, you're getting a great deal on this. So either you can cancel this and you can pay me up front right now because I got to get this bread. All right, so if the repairs, so is it 1.5% repair limit? Or is it a,
We'll say there's a $5,000 repair limit.
okay, so if it's a $5,000 repair limit, if the seller has 10 days to give me proposals on the repairs, if the buyer's saying I don't want to do it, then they have $5,000 in general warrant repairs to get done, and if it exceeds the $5,000, the seller has the option to say no and cancel the contract.
You're getting pretty good.
Yeah.
It's an A minus.
That's getting pretty
Yeah.
good, Kyle.
It's,
What?
Some pieces are missing.
No,
Yeah.
one's missing.
A minus though. All right, so you're almost there. So yes,
I just want the money.
That is not the right answer.
well, and to your point, if they were to cancel and not proceed, then they would owe you the commission under the BBA, because that's now the BBA specifically says if you default, then you still owe my commission. So you still get your money.
Yep.
He's got that part down.
Yeah.
A+ on that.
But as to the process, yes, the buyer can't just automatically back out. They've got to go through the inspection process. Assuming the repairs are in excess of what's in the bucket, $5,000, then the seller has the 10 days to get their own inspection. And then one of two things has to happen. Either the seller has to say, I'll go outside the bucket and pay it all, or the buyer has to say, I'll just accept everything outside the bucket as is, let's proceed.
Yep.
If neither of those things happen, then either party can cancel. So at that point, if the seller says, no, I'm not going outside the bucket, the buyer can back out. So yeah, and we've had that come up several times where a buyer's agent's just like, the client wants out,
Yep.
and you got to go through the process first.
Yep.
So
You do have to go
And
through the
then
process.
if the buyer wants out and the seller says no, then you have the lender write up some sort of email saying the buyer can't get the loan. And then they're out to the
if they're still within their financing contingency.
They're still within their financing.
And I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen where suddenly there's a denial letter that
Yep.
appears. So yeah, watch those contingency deadlines because there might be another door that's still kind of cracked open.
Something you open it and just walk right through.
Right.
So one of my first deals was that I didn't realize that. So this would have been 7.5 years ago, 8 years ago. The agent literally trained me on that. Like she's like, your buyer can't get out. I was like, yeah, we can. Like, no, and literally did that whole thing. I was like, oh my God. I went back to my buyer. I was like, you can't get out of this. And they ended up going all the way through as a house in Iceville. Bought the whole thing. A year and a half later, went to go sell. They called me and said, we're not going to use you. We're going to use another agent because you didn't know. I was like,
Stop
I
it.
promise you. Swear to God.
Wow.
I was like, I don't blame you. I know it now.
Yeah.
Can you give me money now?
And now you'll never
You've
forget.
gotten
I'll never forget
so
it.
good now,
I was-
Kyle.
I was like, oh my.
I remember your baby agent days.
Up.
A lot of late night FaceTime
that
phone
was-
calls.
Yeah, rocking the baby.
You've
Ashley
come
helped
so
me.
far, Kyle.
I know, yeah.
So if the seller agrees to go outside the bucket, the buyer's still locked in regardless of how many repairs are needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have another one for both of you. And this is actually a scenario that was brought to my attention yesterday. There's this house on the market. You have both sides, we'll say. The seller wants $1.2 million. We got a buyer. Buyer wants to spend $1.2 million. It's fine. Buyer's lender says they can only get approved for $1.1 million. What are we gonna do?
How do you get your money there, Kyle?
All right, so I'm listing agent also,
You got both sides.
and the most the buyer can come to the table,
It's 1.1
Okay.
because the lender said
and there is a lender involved now,
Mhm.
and there's $100,000. That's
difference.
how much is the commission?
Well, it's 6% of 1.2.
Okay, all right. So you can't make it up there. You can't do you can't do a seller financing on it because then that's or wraparound mortgage or can you?
Seller finance the delta
I mean,
As-
but
as a second mortgage?
the lender would have to be okay with it.
Right. Yeah, the lender, because the lender has to know where the money's coming from to purchase the house.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Oh.
so if the house is being sold furnished, then you can say, all right, you're going to pay me $100,000 for this furniture. We're going to reduce the purchase price to 1.1. You're going to have a side agreement that the bank doesn't want to see that says buyer's paying $100,000 for the furniture, which can be seller financed.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do a note and back it up with a mortgage against the property. And if it's done post closing, then
Are you serious?
yeah, that's a creative way of.
Oh. I didn't know that.
And your commission is slightly reduced because you had to
It's
drop the
1.1.
purchase price, but
Yeah.
it still closes.
Yeah. $600. See you later. Don't care.
So there you go. We just did one of those.
6,000.
Or we're in the middle of one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yay! Okay, and now last one. Buyer wants to purchase property. It's fully furnished. Buyer also wants the seller's dog. What do you do?
How much,
It's a cute doodle.
how much is the commission? No, I mean,
Kyle's first clarification each time.
yeah, I'm not in this to make friends. I've got enough friends. I have 4 friends. That's all I need.
The inner circle.
I mean, the answer is no.
You're just gonna automatically tell him no?
The buyer wants the seller's dog.
Yes.
Is the dog alive?
Yeah, and it's cute. It's a little doodle.
Is this something that really happened?
I'm sure it's happened before.
I mean, I guess you stare at the buyer and say, "You're an idiot." I mean, that's their family.
Okay.
But I guess you have to present it. You must present all offers to the seller.
Technically, yes.
So you write that in your offer?
Well,
And Toto?
I don't want the lender to see value in the dog, so I put it on an addendum just between buyer and seller. where they
Okay, a side
understand.
addendum. Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Toby the dog must convey with must stay at the house at time of closing.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, see, the dog gets to stay in this house.
Have you ever seen anything like that? Like something
I've seen people leave
I
their
haven't.
cats.
No, they're cats. Yeah.
And the buyer didn't
different.
even want it necessarily, but it just came with the house.
The seller just left the cat.
Yeah, that was it. That was all I had for you today. You did good, Kyle.
Yeah.
I think you get
Yeah,
you get an A. I'm very impressed
Pretty
with
solid.
your skills, with your contract skills, and
Well,
knowing that stuff right off the top of your head
Well,
like
you
that.
get sued enough times. You learn these things. You learn them.
Right?
So
right?
good. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, hey, we appreciate the idea. We love, trying to get out of the box a little bit. And, we presented some great scenarios for our listeners and watchers to learn from as
Our
well.
listeners.
So,
Yes,
that's
yes.
right. Yes, exactly.
Collective.
So, Kyle, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Come up with some other good ideas, and we'll have you back.
Deal.
All right. Well, until next time, we're going to say thank you for listening or watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.